Meet Emma. She's not a celebrity, a politician, nor a social media influencer, but somehow most of you already know her. Who exactly is she? Well, Emma is, for all intents and purposes, the most average Brit currently alive. What does her day-to-day look like? How much does she make? How's her sex life? Is she happy? All of this information about Emma we can actually get by boiling down the data available to us via the Office of National Statistics and other sources to find exactly what the exact average of a British person is like. This is heavily inspired by John Green's video on the average American, a link in the doobly-doo. My name is Evan Edinger, and today let's find out about the average Brit. You already know her name, which is Emma, not a random choice by the way. It's based on the most popular name for girls born in 1983. Why was she born in that year? Well, the median age in the UK is currently at 40.7 years, meaning our good friend Emma was possibly born October 1983. The gender distribution in the UK is fairly balanced, but there are slightly more women than men, making Emma female. Emma stands at about 162 centimeters tall, or about 5'4", and weighs 70 kilograms, though she likely measures herself in stone. That being 11 stone or 154 pounds. Emma lives in a household with the size of 2 people, because you can't have 0.4 of a person, though she plans on having 1 child by the end of her life, which the end of her life is probably going to be about 42 years from now. Her household is she and her significant other, whom she probably met through mutual friends or through work, and his name is most likely going to be Michael. They are not married because as of this past year, there are more Brits actually living with their partners whom they're not married with than living with their husband or wife. And I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, Emma, how's that sex life? Well, first of all, bit of a personal question there, Terry, but Emma either isn't sexually active, or at least she hasn't had sex in the past week. Considering Emma only has had sex with a total of 3 different partners, the jury's still out on whether she and Michael can still make this work. And I wouldn't root for Michael just yet. We're gonna learn a bit more about him soon too. But speaking of work, Emma has a job in one of the most common employment sectors, either healthcare or retail. Possibly at Boots, so we can tick both of the boxes at the same time. She's quite happy with what she does for a living and would say she either likes or loves her job and considers it pays well for what she does. Emma gets 28 days paid holiday per year, which of course is the statutory holiday entitled to full-time workers in Britain, and she uses it to travel abroad about 1 to 2 times per year, usually to South Spain or to Greece, though to be fair, she does travel most of the time domestically around the UK for financial reasons, usually to London or to Manchester. Now, in terms of education, Emma has completed secondary education and successfully completed her GCSEs, and she has an A-level in math and possibly 2 other STEM subjects, but she doesn't quite have a university degree. Now, when it comes to religion, Emma believes that religion in the UK is, how do I say, in terminal decline. You see, Emma either doesn't believe in God or doesn't really know how she feels. Despite this, Emma still celebrates Christmas and Easter, often opting to spend that time with her family. On the whole, Emma believes that religion has a negative impact on the world, and though she may not be Christian herself, she still views Britain as a Christian country. Interesting. In terms of her living situation, well, Emma either owns her home outright or is working to pay off her mortgage at the moment. The cost of her home is currently £306,000, but she bought it for significantly less. Emma spends about 25.7% of her income on housing, which is typical in the UK, but does depend on where she lives. She lives within 25 kilometers of her hometown, which is either a commuter town of London or Manchester. Most likely, I'm gonna say it's in Leicestershire, where rest assured, she lives a healthy life. But what makes up Emma's healthy life? A well-rounded diet, you could say. Emma enjoys eating meat and eats dairy foods multiple times a day. Her favorite cuisines include Italian, Chinese, British, and Indian, and she admits to eating junk food at least once a week. When she does snack, which is at least once a day, Emma reaches for a bag of crisps or maybe a cookie, which she prefers to biscuits, while her partner Michael prefers hamburgers or pizza for junk food. Emma enjoys sharing her food with others, and in fact, she enjoys sharing her food more since lockdown has ended. You don't have to check the date, it is 2024 when I'm uploading this. Emma does not enjoy sparkling water. Her drink of choice is tap water, though she does enjoy drinking tea, coffee, and fizzy drinks throughout the week. Because I know you're wondering, yes, Emma really does enjoy tea, and she consumes about 10 cups of tea per week, opting not to put any sugar in, like 75% of Brits as well. But in terms of alcohol, Emma drinks about 2 to 3 times per week, and that's usually wine, whereas her partner, Michael, he prefers drinking beer. If the person that she's with at the pub isn't ordering alcohol, Emma's happy not to order any alcohol as well. Whereas Michael, on the other hand, he doesn't care, he'll have a drink anyway. Emma doesn't smoke any nicotine products, but in regards to cannabis use, she supports either the legalization or the decriminalization of marijuana use, along with 65% of the British public. But if a doctor did prescribe her cannabis, Emma would happily take it as a medicine. Now, because of her frequent consumption of junk food, Emma is classed as overweight, with a BMI of just over 25. But other than that, she lives a healthy life, with walking being her chosen method of exercise. She does have hay fever, which she finds quite annoying, and it limits her ability to take part in certain activities. I feel like, as an aside, every Brit I know has hay fever. I feel like the only person I know that's just like, what? Why y'all sneezing? But otherwise, in terms of her healthcare, she does have the NHS available to her, and she isn't too stressed about her health at the moment, though the increasing wait times at the NHS does leave her quite dissatisfied. When Emma goes out grocery shopping, she almost always buys the following 5 items. See how many of these you also buy. A 2-pint carton of semi-skim milk, pre-packed sliced ham, unsweetened breakfast cereal like Weetabix, bacon, and a bar of milk chocolate. Now, in terms of leisure, I pronounce it leisure still. I think leisure sounds a bit like Emma's not with Michael. Anyway, Emma spends about an hour and 48 minutes a day on social media and likes to watch TV or stream shows, having most definitely watched Happy Valley, Eurovision, and the Great British Bake Off. Though she is most likely to watch these alone. Because what? I guess Michael's just too busy. Too busy to watch TV with her, too busy to have sex with her. Come on, Michael. Emma deserves better, quite frankly. She doesn't watch any sport on TV, but if she did, it'd probably be footy. Emma hasn't ridden a bike in 9 years, and in fact, Emma hates cyclists. Fun fact, Britain is the only country of these 12 that has a majority negative opinion on cyclists. Hey, build better infrastructure in Britain, maybe. Emma, and bulldoze Kensington and Chelsea. Even though she works full-time, Emma still ends up spending an extra 3 hours and 37 minutes per day doing unpaid work, like housework, caring for others, or volunteering. Unlike Michael, who only contributes 2 hours and 43 minutes of unpaid labor. The cheek! Sadly, Emma only gets to spend about 32 minutes a day socializing with the people she cares about, and she wishes she had more time to do so. Though, to be fair, she's spending more than 3 times that amount on social media alone. But Emma has watched a few videos from Evan Edinger when they come up on her homepage, like his video on the NHS doctor reacting to US hospital prices. But for some reason, she hasn't quite hit the subscribe button. She did give this video a thumbs up, though, for the meta commentary. In terms of politics, Emma is politically engaged to some extent. She identifies as a centrist, perhaps leaning a bit towards the Lib Dems or the Labour Party, and Emma supports LGBTQ rights, along with 86% of her peers. But yet she doesn't really care about the sexuality of any elected officials. They're all shit anyway. Her words, not mine. The thing is, Emma's quite dissatisfied with the UK government, and that's not a fringe opinion, as 80% of Brits agree with her. She also believes that in most ways, the UK is worse off than 14 years ago before the Conservative government took control, though she did vote them in. Emma is now pretty firm in her belief that leaving the EU was a mistake, even though she also did vote for Brexit. And for a weird fun fact about Emma, when given the choice between being stuck in a forest with a man or a bear, Emma would probably choose the man. Though if she were 12 years younger, she'd probably choose the bear. Interesting that. So that's Emma, our average Briton. I find it interesting to compare what Emma's life is like compared to mine. I still have absolutely no idea how Emma consumes that much tea, but I told my girlfriend about the fact that Emma drinks 10 cups a week, and she just replied, "Those be rookie numbers." Personally, I can't have anything with caffeine in after 3 p.m. I like having good sleep, thank you very much. But I'd really love to know how similar your 5 items that you get from the grocery store are, because I'd say when I first moved to the UK, my 5 items were pretty much the same as Emma's. Milk, sliced meat, cereal, albeit something sweeter, bacon, and, well, probably not chocolate. I'm not really a snacker at all, never have been. These days, my 5 grocery items would probably be eggs, sausage, whole wheat bread, Greek yogurt or skyr, and chicken breast fillets. That's just me. Also, this is an ancient video I did on my channel, but at one point I recounted that I would always buy a bag of frozen veg every time I went to the Asda because I just felt like the cashier was gonna judge me for getting all these oven meals and frozen pizzas. So I'd be like, here we go, a well-balanced diet. I would never actually eat any of the frozen veg. It would just sit in the bottom of my freezer until I moved. Another interesting thing I found about Emma was that she earns 22 grand a year, but only spends 25% of it on housing, which isn't bad. It's pretty insane to me as a Londoner. That means she's spending about £5,500 a year on housing, which works out to be about £450 a month. I assume that's because her partner's helping her, and she also lives in Leicestershire, which I just checked it. The average cost of a room per month in Leicestershire is about £500 to £600, so that's pretty cheap even for her area. The average cost in London at the moment is just under £1,000 a month for a room, so her salary wouldn't really be feasible in London. But one of the big things I want you to focus on as we're discussing what the average Brit is like is that we as a society have gotten so much more accepting and so much more progressive since the day that Emma was born. In fact, back then in 1983, 50% of Brits, 1 out of every 2 surveyed, said same-sex relationships were always wrong, whereas right now, that's at 9%. It's a huge shift. Still a bit high, but that's massive. But even though, as of today, only 16% of British people feel like ironing is a woman's job, compared to 75% back then, interestingly, women on average are still performing the majority of household chores. So Michael in 2024 is like, Emma, listen, I love you. And ironing is not your job. But a footy's on. Can you do it anyway? Come on, Michael, get the together. Justice for Emma. And even if you really relate to Emma and the 80% of Brits that currently feel like the country is worse off than it was 14 years ago when the Conservatives took power, in the last 40 years, like if you zoom out just a little bit more, there has actually been a lot of good progression, and hopefully the next 5 years are a step in the right direction and Emma can finally get the man she deserves. And the same goes for the government. Thank you for watching my YouTube video. Give it a like or a subscribe if you enjoyed the show. Click the video in the corner if you'd like to watch some more. And if you don't, your mother is a filthy stinking. That's fine. I think that's the best take.